why they've regularly called us the most prepared and qualified podcast on the internet.
Yes. Welcome back to your professionalism and preparedness podcast central.
Yeah.
All of that. Yep. Welcome back to this week's podcast, which this week will be brought to you by Food Friendships and New Apartments.
This week is also brought to you by Big Sloppy Potatoes and Biden his time.
Oh, God. I'm your host, Madison.
I'm your other host, Jesse James. Welcome to our leftist conversational mukbang. Conversational leftist mukbang. There we go. I got it. I got there. We're starting like an hour late because I thought I would make a quick thing, and then it wasn't quick. So
I guess what we're saying is this is technically like this week's podcast after dark, because it's after dark.
It is technically after dark by now, and we are about as prepared as an after dark podcast should be. So,
well, I'm prepared.
Ooh.
I came prepared for the after dark portion. So I have a Cutwater tequila margarita, which, just so everyone knows, don't drink 3 of them. That's a bad idea. You'll not feel good the next day.
I mean, it's debatable.
Yep. Well, just pro tip.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that a tea or a coffee?
This is a coffee. What did I put in this? Just regular coffee. I think I did have a few drops left of the Talone macadamia liqueur, so got that in there.
Just drop the bottle in and let what's in there infuse.
Yeah.
That's probably the best bet.
I think so. And then to bring it all together, I think this will actually pair nicely with my canned margarita.
Oh, yeah.
Tamarindo, little guy.
That may pair very well.
I'm very excited for this.
Yeah, those are good.
Yes.
All right. So I just spent the last, I would say the last hour, but I spent the last half hour making some big sloppy potatoes. But I got 2 phone calls and some more conversations in the middle of that, because apparently if you have a podcast, that's when everybody needs to talk to you. These potatoes are what I would call dinner-sized croquettes.
Those look delightful.
But one of them broke in half, so I have that one as one of my foods.
I heard that little, the crisp of when you touched it. I heard it a little bit.
I had some smoked salmon left, so I put smoked salmon in it. I think the oil from it loosened it a bit, so I ended up having to make big ones because making small ones was impossible. But I'm okay with that. I basically made pancake batter out of it with that added oil, and then just had to let it sizzle for a little bit longer to get it to firm up.
Very nice.
But now the apartment's hot, and that sucks. I also have this Seattle cola, which I didn't know existed until I ordered food after last week's podcast, and this showed up. So I figured I would save it because I'm not really a big soda person, and then I also have some additives for this in case it's not that good, which I expect it probably won't be.
Yeah.
I have non-special soda, but I do have one of these over here in case I need a little extra action.
That is exciting.
And I still have some sixlets and things over here from last week. I'm hoping this very large potatoey business does the trick. Yeah. That's pretty good.
Seems like it would.
It's like a very thin French fry around mashed potatoes with some smoked salmon in it. It's pretty good.
Yeah, I
Can't
like
complain.
that. Seems pretty good. I would have more food, but I ate some chicken and rice leftovers not too long ago. So
Well, people can envision the chicken and rice and enjoy it through that.
just think about it real hard. It was pretty good. My dad makes
Yeah.
chicken with some like Yoshida's sauce.
Mm-hmm.
It's very good. That with the rice.
That sounds good.
Some like greasy rice. Love. Very yum. Mmm. That was some good. That was a good bite.
Yeah, so I got croquettes from a place not too long ago, and they were good, but they weren't what I wanted. And this is closer. Uh, this is more like a street food croquette than what I got. So, big, sloppy, and probably nutritionally a little fucked up is what I'm looking for with this.
That's generally what I look for in foods is nutritionally a little not correct.
Mm-hmm.
There's that. I think I've talked about this like ramen recipe before that I saw on TikTok or somewhere else where the lady like melts cheese into her spicy pasta or spicy ramen
Yeah.
noodles on top of the enoki mushrooms and everything. And I've made that quite a few times in the last couple of weeks, and it's pretty fucked
Yeah.
up.
That's like the ramen of the Seattle dog hot dog, where it's just, what if we made a hot dog and onions, but what if we just put like a half a block of cream cheese on it? It's like, I mean, it's good, but also fuck off.
Yeah. Yeah, that's kind of what's been going on.
Mm-hmm. So speaking of food, I assume Food Friends delves into this. Do you want to take the reins?
Sure. So, I over the weekend took a load of stuff down to my new apartment. I guess it kind of covers both of my topics. Um, Yay, new living space. Woo.
Not at parents' house.
Not at parents' house. Moving on up in the world. It's happening. And my roommate is a chef for a restaurant downtown.
I didn't know that. That's fucked up.
It is going to be fantastic. So my roommate and I have known each other since like junior high. We went to
Mm-hmm.
junior high together, and she is really into like Asian foods and uh, very into like culinary artistry, not just like making food, but like pretty. And so um she has a ton of cookbooks, and uh it was just a lot of fun to talk to her about like what she's making at work and what she's going to make me a bunch of foods for me to try. And we did end up going to her work to sample some of her handiwork, and it was very good. And
This is
oh,
all this is all very frustratingly good.
well, as soon as it is safe and possible to do so, you should definitely come visit because she loves cooking for people, and I
Oh
love
no.
eating. So it's
I
kind of the
I
perfect
love
friendship.
sleeping on a floor behind a couch, so that should work out great.
Yeah, great. That would be really good. Um, yeah, so I'm incredibly excited about the future of that friendship and living
Yeah.
with her. Going to be
Uh,
fun.
that could potentially make the mukbang section of this podcast very interesting in the future too.
Yeah, she's really good. Like um the first night when we got in, she made us dinner and she just kind of like threw stuff together and she did like a soba noodle with a kind of rice vinegar spicy sauce. It was just really simple but like really good. And we also had a uh as I was unpacking my stuff, a couple of funny things that happened. Like I had some knives that like I knew were nice knives because I had gotten them from my parents or like hand
Yeah.
me down kind of thing. But I don't know things about knives. So as I was unpacking it, she was like freaking out over the knives that I had and was like, how did you not know that you had this knife?" And I'm like, it's a knife to me. I don't I don't know, but she was kind of fangirling over these knives. And then I also had one like very small pampered chef Tupperware
Hmm.
uh, that she that she had the set of like all the other sizes except for the size that I had, so it felt very like this is meant to be,
You
I
just
think.
had the glass slipper in your
Yes,
bag already. Yeah,
exactly.
that's pretty good. Man,
Yeah.
I need a food Cinderella. That's that's the ideal situation.
Uh, yeah, I'm very excited because aside from these weekly conversations and like some slightly texting you through the week anytime I eat something I'm excited about, I don't really have many people in my life who are as excited about food as me, and it's important.
Yeah, I if there is one thing that we both have been fully on board with the entire time we've known each other, it's that food is very good.
Yes.
And that seems like the perfect kind of person for you to be moving in with, especially where you're moving from. And two, I think all of that is going to be a huge benefit to, living in general.
It's gonna make it nice.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
You're going to get there and there's going to be a Trump flag just stapled to the wall. That's,
Something has to go wrong. We actually, as that's funny you say that because as I was moving my stuff in, I remember she had texted me a few weeks ago and been like, "Oh, our neighbors across the street have a Biden Harris sign in their yard, so at least we know they're not like total pieces of shit, I
complete
guess."
goblins.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But as I was moving my stuff and they were moving out, so
Ah.
we're like, "Oh no." Uh, who knows who will get next? It's Boise, so I can't imagine it would be like that
Yeah.
bad. It's got to be an improvement from up here. I'm not worried.
That's that's the thing that people forget when they live in a city for a while is that the cities have a ratio of a lot of more left-leaning people because that's the only place they can go. That's like
Yeah.
how Seattle has a lot of gay community that came from all over the U.S. because it's like for a while it was like one of five gay communities you could count on not being like the worst. So we've had a lot of like filtration into the cities for a while. It's still not
Yeah.
perfect, but your chances are decent at least.
Better than here for sure.
Yeah.
So I'm
Uh,
uh, we'll see.
I saw some stats that said that the school system isn't the 50th, but the overall education and stuff is 50th in Idaho.
Hmm.
So anything is better than being
Anything.
in the fucking woods in Idaho somewhere.
If you spend more than like 10 minutes in any small Idaho town, that statistic makes a lot of sense.
Just being in the border area before you get to Portland in Oregon when you're still in Washington, it feels like everything has like just degraded. Like it's 40 years in the future of a Trump like autocracy of some kind
Hmm.
in those areas. Like I can't imagine how much more amplified that is right now in a place like that.
Yeah, it's so there are still like weekly Trump flag parades with their
Car
like
parades
trucks
or
and
yeah.
yeah, with their trucks. I think there's a specific day that they do it. I don't know how they organize these things, probably on like Facebook. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's still kind of
Yep.
weird.
It seems dope. That picture, the one picture I've seen of your place, I already like the look of it, so I'm excited to
Yeah,
hear how that stuff goes.
I'm excited to get it all kind of put together and I can send more pictures, but it's feels it like I really like it first
Mhm.
off. I feel like it might be a little bit haunted, but
Probably, yeah.
yeah, I think it was built in like the 1960s.
Hmm.
So there are some parts of it that feel very much like that. Like the picture I sent you had like a phone nook in the wall,
Yeah.
which has become a cactus nook.
And at
That's
some point, there's gonna just be a face in the back of that. Guaranteed.
probably,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, probably. And then in my room, there's just a wall that's like storage and drawers and closet that just kind of opened by itself a couple of times. So that felt like maybe just stay in there. but but it's a lot of storage. So that's good. That's good.
You can get your haunting of Boise house together early. Uh,
Yeah.
that's some of the areas around Kirkland as well. There's only chunks of it that are still old because it's all being rebuilt, like I imagine a lot of Boise is. But the going out at like 2 or 3 in the morning and hearing random screams out in the middle of nowhere definitely doesn't make me feel like it's not haunted in this area.
Post Falls is kind of like that, except for it's like guns.
Yeah, I mean, when you're in certain areas, you're just kind of got to be used to that. There's a
There's
little bit
just
of
like
that.
guns happening all the time
Yeah.
for some reason.
Even living out in like Snohomish or Woodinville, you would just kind of occasionally hear like bam, 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 bam. It's like cool,
Oh,
love
okay.
it.
I
When we were in
love that
Woodinville,
local flavor.
on the edge of like 10 acres of woods, by a trail that was like public, but like not super well traveled at that point. That part of the trail, it was a well traveled trail, but the part we were on was not really like used that much. And it was always a little bit disconcerting to hear just a couple errant shots uh,
Yeah.
in the area. You don't love it. Uh,
Makes you wonder just a little
yeah.
what's going on. Mm.
But at least I had parents who like to just leave the doors unlocked 24/7.
Yep.
Yep.
Same here. I have to get become more vigilant about that now that we're moving to somewhere like
Yeah.
that's actually with people. Um, so I might have to actually take some mental stock in that. But oh
It's
well.
it's an easy thing to get used to.
Yeah.
Just get a key holder by the door. That's all I really needed to remember that shit.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a good idea.
Or just put some paper clips hanging off of your gun rack, and you can put your keys on that.
Mm. Yeah, we'll do that. We'll do that. That's pretty good. I think I'll have to get like pepper spray or something and start carrying that maybe. I probably should already have been doing that.
Yeah, I
But
I I think most people would benefit from having something like that.
yeah. All right.
I would
Bad
like
people, don't listen to this. Don't listen
yeah,
to how unprepared I am for
I would
your
like
attacks.
to envision that you carry pepper spray in Idaho, but people make their own decisions.
It's easy to not when you just don't go outside at all.
Yeah, it's true. This year is probably the least uh, like civilian pepper spray year in a long time.
Well,
Last year, rather.
yeah, I was gonna
Uh,
say, I distinctly remember a solid couple of months, some very heavy pepper spray usage.
it's okay. That was mostly you know, balls and gases.
Ah, yes.
Uh, what I think, yeah, that was the Portland mayor who maced somebody. We talked about a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
Uh,
Good old Portland.
yeah, I like Portland, but I don't like their mayor. Um,
Why? Seems cool.
yeah, exactly. Uh, I was looking to see because I hadn't checked. I was like, did they figure out what the tuna is yet? The last I heard was the last I heard was that it's not even fish, like more specifically, which is
Oh.
problematic. So I thought, well, I'll look it up real quick. If there's some news, there's probably no news about it. I won't find anything. And then I got a Philadelphia Voice article that just went up. It looks like yesterday. What is today? Oh, just went up on a Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
Subway is now taking 15% off of tuna footlongs during
No.
the lawsuit that claims the sandwiches don't contain tuna. Just go to a store or order it using the code, all one word, it's real. And you
Oh
can get
no.
15% off of your tuna sandwich. um,
I hate that, but as a like a marketing brained person, that's
yeah.
kind of awesome.
And then it reiterates plaintiffs in the case said they tested multiple samples from subways in California, so different subways. I didn't actually know that. And the tuna was, quote, a mixture of various concoctions that do not constitute tuna. So, like, it's,
Ugh.
I don't know.
Do you need to know anything beyond it's definitely not tuna to like not want to eat it anymore?
I was talking to Nick, my roommate, for
Mm-hmm.
this is your first episode, I guess. And um I feel like with the mercury in the fish, they have a good reason that they could have gotten a tuna substitute at some point. What they don't have a good reason for is pretending that it's still tuna if that's the case. The
Yeah.
other thing they don't have a good reason for is if they're cost cutting tuna, if they don't care about the health, which is also very likely, and they're cost cutting their tuna, what is cheaper than tuna to make into tuna that's worth it? Like, what actually makes a difference on your bottom line that isn't tuna? Because that's usually like cheap, right? Cheap enough.
It's like sawdust or something. It has to be something like that.
That's like my maybe it's okay version is like, I don't know, it's like some kind of weird shredded like seitan kind of stuff that they've like soaked in a weird, because they have like tuna flavored things. They could make
Yeah.
it like tuna, but like I don't think that's what they're doing. I don't know.
It's got whatever it is, it's got to be kind of fucked up because there could be a world in which they're like, "Hey, it's not tuna, but it is vegan because there's
Yeah.
nothing in it other than like I don't know, plant material or whatever."
They kind of tried to pull that at Taco Bell a long time ago when
Oh
people
yeah.
discovered how much filler they had that wasn't meat, and they were like, "Well, I mean, do you want not meat? Would you like us to do this on the level? Because if you buy it, we'll make it. Like they could have been doing that, but the fact that they're like, it's tuna, 100%. They're not saying,
Hashtag
hey,
it's real.
test it. You can tell it's tuna. They're saying like, who the fuck are you to say it's not tuna? So like, I don't trust it. It's very weird to me.
I did tell my friend, the friend that I sent that to,
Yeah.
he was already familiar with the situation and immediately became very defensive of Subway.
Yep.
It was really funny. He was like, well, no, they actually put out a statement that said, and I think he was referring to the same statement that you were like, they just doubled down that it really was tuna instead of...
Yeah, it's like 2 paragraphs of like, you fuckers are gonna learn it's tuna. And now they're like, we're so sure it's tuna. We don't have to prove it to you. You can get it for cheap. Just tell us it's real tuna.
Oh, Subway gaslighting us. I love it.
Yeah.
It's good.
It's especially good because I have no desire for Subway whatsoever.
No. Yeah, I don't think I can get behind any. I don't know. The meatball sub, like that one's fine. I can do that one.
As we established,
okay.
meatball sub is a sandwich. Everything else is something else at Subway.
Yes. All right, I'm gonna attempt this.
My suggestion: hold it
on
and
the table.
do it on the table, because you'll get a much better squeeze, and it'll get a little bit harder to get out when it gets towards the end, and you don't want to miss the niblets. So
I don't.
You'll want to be using the table later anyway.
Do you just like... Okay.
You can like scrape it off with your teeth. You can use a spoon. You can do whatever you want.
That's good.
Yeah. They're good, they're cheap, and they're like a lot more not horrible than a lot of the candy that the US likes to do.
This is made by the Hershey company.
Yeah. Hershey and Nestle do a lot of like Latin candies.
They know what's up with candies. More candy should be savory and sweet at the same time, and not in like a pretzel chocolate kind of way, but like an actual savory. Cause
I love those like the spicy tamarind spoons that are kind of like, they're a little bit sour, a little bit spicy, and like just sort of a sweet goop. They're great.
Yes, they're very good.
And I feel like we would have like, I don't know, a lot more US kids who were like open to foods if they had more stuff like that, as opposed to like you can get a chocolate bar made of fake chocolate or a chocolate bar made of fake chocolate and peanut butter, and that's like kind of your options for like a regular thing.
If you're not eating your candy off of a plastic spoon with a rubber band on it, I don't want to hear about it.
What's even your problem? If you're not scooping your candy out of a tiny little bin with a even tinier little plastic spoon, then go fuck yourself.
Exactly.
Let's see what this handcrafted Seattle Cola is all about.
Ooh. Okay, I'm gonna get into this as well.
See what kind of brown cola this tastes like.
Ooh, I'm gonna do something really fucked up. And by fucked up, I mean genius.
Get in there.
We're gonna.
Yeah.
This
Perfect.
Is not.
Yeah. That's the right way to do it. Now you're thinking like I think, which is a problem.
I only have to do it one day a week, though.
That's fair. It works.
Very good.
You sugared the rim.
Yeah, but it's like, it's salty too.
That works pretty well as like a flavor combo, I bet. So that's not a bad plan.
Yeah, it's pretty good because the tamarind's not like super sweet, but oh, I kind of
You
pushed
fucked
it
it.
all. I kind of fucked it up. Oh well. All right. Well, it's good.
I have good news for at least dirtbags about this soda. Um, this tastes like RC Cola,
Oh.
and I like RC Cola, so I'm into it. Uh, I don't really like Pepsi or Coke very much, but RC Cola and if I can get it, uh, I don't know what it's called anymore, but Africola. It was like a heavily herbed, um, like a cola version.
Oh.
But I feel even when I originally used to get it, I felt like the Africola name was a little weird because I was pretty certain there was no African influence on this soda. So it may
Mm-hmm.
have gone away or turned into something else, but I hope it still exists because I actually like it quite a bit. But this
That's
is an
it.
RC, and that's good.
Yeah. That is an interesting concept, like an herbed soda, though, that I'm sure I would really like.
Uh, there are a few of those out there, but some of them just aren't that great. But cola works really well with other flavors. So if you find a good like herbal flavor to infuse into it, um, you can get a nice soda out of it. Also, like cola flavor, I like, but I prefer the like tea version of cola flavor
Mm-hmm.
to most of the I don't know, like the extremely acidic Coca-Cola and like extremely sweet Pepsi are both sort of just not very good.
Yeah, I don't like Pepsi very much. I can kind of get on board with Coke like occasionally,
Hmm.
but not really. If I have to do anything, I'm more of a Dr. Pepper kind of person just because it's feels like a more distinct flavor to me.
Dr. Pepper also skirts a little closer to herbed colas. Like that's
Yeah.
sort of the flavor they have going on. Oh man, I don't want to eat those giant dinner croquettes right now, but I kind of do too because I put them too close to here.
Well, if you do some dinner croquette ASMR, I can reach into my box of goods and see if there's some equally pleasing ASMR. Oh God.
I'll do some soda sipping.
Ooh. God.
That's the sound you make when you have soda, right?
Yeah. Uh-huh. Oh, I'm gonna hold off. I want to save this stuff. It's too good. Have you ever had this?
Oh yeah, yeah. I'm not a huge IPA guy, but I remember that being okay.
Yeah. I also don't like IPAs, but uh oh, Boise has a Trader Joe's and it's like pretty close to my place, so I can actually access that now, and those are kind of my go-to um like uh hmm, kind of on the level with Rasputin, like you have one and you're done
Okay.
sort of beer, like because the what is this 8.4% is Boatswain.
I forget. Did you have Rasputin on my suggestion, or was that a natural find?
I had it on your suggestion, and
Okay.
that is the
Did
story of how I
did you
got fucked up at the coffee shop.
you had more than one? Excellent.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I have had a three Rasputin night in the past, and even for me, who doesn't have a lot of like, uh, I don't show a lot of having been drinking usually. Like I'll get a little bit, like, you know, a little bit like that, but I usually don't appear to be like blitzed. And the three of those, I remember that being a little bit like, I
Oh.
think I can see straight.
Yeah, I don't think I could put down like, yeah, I'd be sleeping at that point. But
um,
two is comfy.
two's nice. Two is a warm blanket that you definitely do need to go to sleep with.
Yes.
Because if you go do other stuff, you end up doing dumb shit like I was doing cafe stuff. Did a lot of like, I'm going to have something to drink and hang out with one of my dirtbag friends who would show up at the house at like 10 p.m. to like start hanging out. And then I'd end up at like the cafe bar at like 1 a.m. or something, just like doing shit. I don't know. I did meet a guy who definitely wanted to have sex with me, but also definitely wanted to show me his saxophone first. I just remember it being like, hey, check it out, though. And he was like, also plastered. And I was like, I have one of those too. That's cool, though. Like, and then I think he was the guy who was like, sexy sex.
No.
Mm-hmm. Very unpleasant, but very funny. I think they might have been the house that was having the party that the one lady just wandered into my kitchen in the middle of the evening and was like, is Tony here? Like,
oh, that sounds silly.
Yeah, it was weird. I think I was probably cooking some kind of hobo food in the kitchen in the back of that apartment house. Actually, that was a house. And yeah, some literally like so if the view of me here is me looking at the wall behind the oven, to the left of me against the same wall was the door from the rest of the place into the kitchen. And this person just walked into the kitchen and was like, hey, in the middle of the day. We didn't lock our door there because there were usually a set of different people there. So, like, somebody will see if somebody walks in, right? But apparently not.
No. That's scary. Well, I'm glad they were just looking for Tony and not anything else.
Yeah. Always fun. Definitely already drunk, whoever that lady was. Also started off by thinking that I was lying, that I didn't know where Tony was. So it was the like, like, where is he? Like that kind of thing. There was clearly the party is not here. The house is empty except for this weird dude making like tuna rice or some shit. So like maybe it's out there.
Better luck out there. What, like tuna rice doesn't constitute a party?
I mean, it was a party later.
Okay.
And it's also like a 3-day party that gets kind of skunky by the end of it. Actually, it just gets kind of stiff. Like covering as much rice as I would make to like make it a worthwhile thing. Basically like low rent musubi. Covering it with like so-so saran wrap in the fridge only keeps it like decent for like a couple of days, and then it starts to like get hard. I definitely had using my art spritzer for water to like moisten it and then microwaving it and just hoping it would soften up a little. I remember that.
But what's most important is that it's real.
Is real. I opened that can. I saw it.
It's real.
Look. Text me it's real, and I will tell you the recipe. And at the top of that recipe, it's going to say, real ass tuna.
It's real.
Real.
And I honestly shouldn't even have to tell you that it's real. That's how real it is, that I don't even have to prove it.
I can't believe you would ask me about my tuna. It's disgusting.
How dare you?
It looks bad on you, sir.
Oh my god. I love Subway.
Yeah, they're my favorite restaurant now.
They've had a pretty illustrious like marketing campaign, I don't know, gaffe history. Like the Jared from Subway thing, that whole fiasco, now this. I'm sure there are other things I can't think of.
That Jared stuff was rough. The like what it was a few years of like, because I remember Jared being around from like childhood on, so he
Yeah.
was a present figure for like a while. It had to be like a decade or more, right? Because
I
he
think
didn't. Nothing happened in the like evolution of that thing until like maybe 8 years ago or so. Like it wasn't super long ago. Um, but yeah, having why is Subway coming to all of our schools all the time? I don't know. Don't worry about it.
Check out the tuna. It's real.
Yeah. Oh. Hey, public service warning, don't check out Jared's tuna. It is probably real, but it also is not something you should be checking out.
It is unsafe.
Yeah. I was looking up to see if um, Ted Nugent came up again in another context. I was like, God, okay. I
Can't escape this man.
I was like on the phone. I was like, I need to tell you something about Ted Nugent, and I typed in stuff, and then I think a song that I didn't see before popped up called "A Bridge Over Troubled Daughters." It was just like I can't. It's so much bad Ted Nugent. Like, why is he not in a hole somewhere?
Why?
Oh.
Why are people allowed to be just so openly, outwardly horrible? And
Well,
just because they own it, it's fine.
that's like the Oath Keepers that got busted in. It's either Texas or like just off the border of Texas in another state. Um, there were like it was one of the leaders of the Oath Keepers, I want to say, who got busted because uh he was having sex with his own daughter who was underage. And they're like the like we got to protect God and country people. Like should that
Yeah.
shouldn't that be an issue for everybody? But they like sweep it under the rug as soon as it pops up because the politicians know that that shit in that area, if it looks bad on their party, it looks bad on everybody. So they just kind of like, it's fine. We'll maybe won't put him in prison publicly too much.
Yeah.
And that recent stuff with people finally being at least somewhat critical of the response for the Kyle Rittenhouse stuff, and like I think people are up in arms about that again because the court was trying to set a higher bail because he had gotten so much money through crowdfunding that he didn't even feel anything with having to pay like a $2 million bond to like just be free during all of his stuff. Uh, I don't know. That stuff's also insane. That's still even an issue. Like maybe he's the good guy is still on a lot of people's mind, which it shouldn't be.
That is
Uh,
really disheartening.
yeah.
I don't know. I don't have the mental space to deal with Rittenhouse anymore, but I feel
Yeah,
like the
that's the right place to be.
parents should be in more trouble than they seem to be.
Yeah,
That
the
seems like
parents.
the mom who literally drove him.
Uh-huh.
Feel like there should be some repercussions there, but I
And
haven't heard about
I'm
anything.
certain they were aware that he had a firearm that wasn't legal to have.
Right.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
It's not good. I know
It's
that.
not great. I frustrating that people are like, maybe he's the good guy.
Yeah.
Question mark.
Um I did getting that a finger full of tamarind.
Mm-hmm.
I I did a like a 6 hour multi-birthday video thing on the day that you did some move-in action.
Uh-huh.
Uh, and That was over this weekend, and man, I can't remember. Something came up that was very much like historical QAnon, and I wish I could remember what it was, but um, it was a good reminder that QAnon is not a isolated thing. It's just a new internet version of it. But I don't. People trying to like clean up their crusades lately and stuff like that too. I feel like we're just going to be dealing with shit like that for a while because there's
Probably.
there's pushback on it, but there's not the kind of pushback there should be if we actually were like well educated and gave a shit. And
Mm-hmm.
probably need to wait. Yet another problem. We need a lot of old people to just die. And on that note, we've had our first senator die of COVID, I think now.
Oh, did we? I didn't
Yeah,
hear
let
about
me
this.
let me look up the name. It was this morning. It was literally like a oh, this just happened like a couple hours before we did our startup for this.
Mm.
Ron Wright, Arlington representative, uh, died this morning from it. Um, so I look forward to all of the conservative conspiracy theories about how he died from something else. But
Yeah.
do you even remember the conspiracy theories from like the third month of COVID that all of the nurses and doctors were having sex with each other in the hospitals and
Oh, yeah.
just putting people on oxygen and then turning off the machines so they would die and they could get the money for
Mhm.
all that sweet COVID cash.
That was a really fun Alex Jones
Uh,
episode.
Doctors and nurses just fucking on a pile of money. That's what's really happening in
They're
America.
just doing drugs in the on-call rooms and like hanging out and having a grand old time and cashing in that COVID insurance, whatever. I don't know. That
The
was a fun couple of weeks.
the money to make up for the fact that the hospitals won't get paid properly through insurance, so they need to be paid by the government. Yeah,
Weird. I wonder if that could go differently or better.
yeah. I wonder. I wonder.
Huh.
And then those fucking like the same group of people from Plandemic pop
Oh,
up
that's a
and
real throwback. Wow.
yeah. Those same like peoples would pop up and be like, "No, it's true. I saw it. I was a nurse 10 years ago, and I know it's happening. It has to be." um, our country's cool though, so
And the name tag is like Trevor the chiropractor or something like
yeah.
that.
Doctor
Thanks.
Mr. Trevor to you, sir.
God damn it. Now thinking about like how long ago that was that we were talking about plandemic and thinking about the fact that almost nothing has really changed.
Yeah, I mean things have changed, but
I mean, things that more people are dead, but
let's see if I can find the episode that happened in real quick. Because it's definitely an earlier episode.
I
Uh,
know. I had totally forgotten about that.
Jesus. Okay, it would have been before that. Uh, I have the numbers for all these, but I don't have the. I forgot that this episode just has a note that says porno. um,
I wonder which one that is.
I
Can't be
think
the
it's.
the Pornhub episode. That's like too
I think
on
it's
the nose.
a different one than that. Yeah. Um, yeah, it looks like it was in the first uh 10 episodes. So that would be a year ago.
Cool.
Yep. Because right now we're on our 64th episode.
It's a solid chunk of time.
We've gotten better. Our show is more interesting, for sure. We've had a lot of really important conversations,
Mhm.
and we still don't know what the tuna is. So I think we're on a great track so far.
Yeah, I think it's good.
I think it's good.
I think it's good. America's so cool and nice and fun.
Welcome to our ASMR Upset About America segment, in which you hear us be upset that we live here. What
Mhm.
what are the sounds of us being upset? Eating, sighing, the sound of staring. Just-
The sound of staring, deep, deep sighs, and sucking tamarind off of fingers.
Yeah, that's an action that only happens when upset about America. Yeah, prove me
Yeah.
wrong. Let's see. I do want to mention that we're moving in the right direction on some things, which I guess is a slight malarkey minute starting up. Jack.
Are
Malarkey
we
minute.
are we biding our time?
Yeah. So I'll get to that story in a second because it pisses me off more than the other stuff. But um, the last I heard, not that we're not getting used to rapid shifts in expectation, um, we are ending our support of Saudi Arabia when it comes to things regarding their assaults on Yemen and stuff, which is good, but also like the least we can do. I think the best thing I heard is that we are supposed to be sending them a new um, like representative of the United States of some kind, which is like having troops there was effective to stave off stuff, but still at least having an official person in Yemen will probably help a lot for keeping people from being aggressive towards Yemen in the same way, since they're just in open combat, like out there without like representation to keep some kind of world like eyes on them other than their current allies. Like they do have some allies, but very few. Um,
Mm.
now we ideally, I think, if we're gonna have like what's it called? It's not a delegate. It's a um, people who would be at a consulate. It's a diplomat.
Like an ambassador.
Yeah, it's
Kind of
like an
thing.
ambassador. I think the fact that the U.S. isn't in a position to have an ambassador in every country is part of the problem, because that is kind of the only way that doing things would make sense if we want to have like the fear of retaliation be how we're going to do this stuff, which it shouldn't be, but like that's what we've chosen for our method.
Mhm.
Um, we can't just not have those people in countries that we're like okay with getting attacked. That seems like a pretty stupid move. It'd be cool if we hadn't been spying on everybody for all time, though, so that we could actually like do that and not have it just be a giant red flag.
Yeah, that'd
Yeah.
probably be beneficial.
So things should hopefully cool off a little bit, if not get better in Yemen, which is good. Um, but the Biden is time section. Do you know what that's about? Have you been keeping up with the current Biden shit?
No, I have not.
Yeah, there's a lot of it, and it's mostly stupid, but some of it's good occasionally. The current thing is at the end of last week, they had basically gotten a uh, at least a strong speculative announcement that after having met with the Republicans and then meeting with the Democrats, Biden was going to move ahead with the House to like push in the stimulus stuff and get the like aid started up, like get the new plan stuff like rolling. And then after the weekend, early this morning, like 5 o'clock or something this morning, news came out that it was like, well, he said he's willing to sit down again with the Republicans. It was just like, are you fucking kidding me? And it was about specifically like the weird means testing shit of like, so what's too much money to send people money? Because right now it's a little too low. Like we want or a little too high. That's what it was. We want to like make it so that fewer people get this money. So we can't just make it what it is already, which nobody is really talking about very publicly. It's already at the range of if you made as a single person, I think 75,000 in a year, you already don't get money, or you don't get very much. And the plan currently was to make that 100 for a single person and 200 for a couple, which is like, they're probably fine, but like if it tapers off between 75 and 100, that makes sense. Like the likelihood that they would have not had any money left is a lot lower than the likelihood that the people who are actively losing their jobs constantly and losing everything else would not need it much more. So like that made sense, but then they were going to go back to the table and start lowering that amount. And then it came out that all of those amounts, because of course it is, are based off of your 2019 income. So it doesn't even have to do with your COVID situation. It has to do with the fact that you could have been making what the Republicans seem to want, and Biden, from the sound of it at the start, is if you made 50,000 or more, you would get zero. But you would make that in 2019, which is just insane because plenty of people who made 50,000, which is not a very high, it's like, 2/5 higher than my money, but it's not a ton of money. And plenty of those people are going to be hurting, and plenty of those people probably have kids too. So like you have to keep them getting something. So it moved back up a bit. It's unclear what that bit is yet. I think it's still being decided. Another thing came out like around the same time that representative died that was like, well, now they're saying that you will get $1,400 if you're under 75 still, and it should be set up soon, but it's still not set up. Like there's been no further news on it, and the new thing that looks like it was ramping towards is they were going to lower the amount, not pay as many people, and then pay money specifically to parents with kids based on amount of kids, which is like fine, but like there are protections for kids. They still need a lot of protecting, but there's plenty of people who just work jobs and aren't going to be able to pay rent, and those people need something too. What it really comes down to is everybody could just get money per person. You could just say, hey, for each person, here's $2,000. It's not very much. Like, it's still not enough to, like, cover any, like, real percentage of what's happened. But, like, we shouldn't be arguing over whether or not people with kids get money. We should be arguing that, of course, every single person should be receiving that money, or their guardian should be receiving it to help with their care. So, like, just do it. I don't know. And after seeing that they can make those decisions and send everything out very quickly if they want to. The amount of people I've heard that got their stimulus a day after it was decided last time, it's like, just fucking do it. Everybody would have it. like there's obviously a system to get it out to people. So
Right. I got in the mail some sort of like card thing for the stimulus, but I have to activate it, and it also doesn't indicate anywhere on the letter or anything how much I got,
you
which is
just
kind
got
of
a
weird.
card for it?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. That's
See,
stupid.
it's really weird, and it doesn't tell you how much it is. I think I have to call and activate it like a regular card.
2
So
medium drinks of your choice.
it's actually a Wendy's like 4 for $4 coupon. Hell yeah, dude.
Go get yourself a junior and you can get 2.
Free Frosty with any purchase. I don't know why I'm stuck on Wendy's right now.
I mean, they are the greasiest, except for like Five Guys. Five Guys is basically grease in the shape of a hamburger, though, so I don't know if that counts. I love their fries. Their burgers are like, I
don't think I like their fries because they don't have fry sauce.
True. I doctor fries though. So their fries are like good enough to turn into good fries, where Wendy's fries become terrible afterwards.
Yeah. I think generally with most fast food fries, it's like you got to eat it pretty quickly or else you're going to have to do some work later on. But
I'll do that work. I'll do it.
I'll do it. Don't tempt me, I'll do it. But what was I saying? I was the places like Five Guys who don't have fry sauce and I think it's because of like a weird pretentious like our fries are too good for fry sauce. We'll give you ketchup and that's it.
You do mean the good orange juice that you dip them, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a lot of places in Seattle that don't have that, period. They don't know what it is.
Really? I thought that fry sauce was like a P&W thing.
Fry sauce, my understanding is it's a northern part of the western desert thing that's spread out. Because it's like ubiquitous in Utah, and it's common in California and like Arizona.
That makes sense. I could see that.
Those filthy perverts in Utah make a lot of good food that will kill you, and that's where I think fry sauce probably kind of comes.
They got to get their kicks somewhere. They got to do something to make it worth it, and it's fry sauce. Fry sauce makes it all worth it. And
fry sauce is good. It should be everywhere.
I'm a big believer in fry sauce. I don't know if this is just wow, this is a really hard pivot from like the stimulus conversation, but
I don't have more of that. They're assholes. They still haven't figured it out.
Okay. That is a good summary. A lot of people in Idaho will get ranch just as like a dipping sauce. That's pretty common.
Ranch happens in Washington, and ranch is pretty common in places I've seen in Alaska. I think that like the Northwest has embraced ranch, but
like a ranch, like pizza with ranch.
Yeah, I like ranch more as a sauce than I like it as a horrible, horrible salad dressing.
Yeah, me too.
If I'm having a salad, I want something that's actually just maybe vinegar or something. Maybe like a balsamic. That's fine for a salad. But I think ranch, fry sauce, and what's the other? Thousand Island. Those are all for fries or fried goods. Those are not salad options at all.
Yes, I would agree. I don't know that I like Thousand Island that much. I enjoy it on what is it? A Reuben? Is that what that usually goes on?
Yeah, so Thousand Island is really good on Greek hamburgers because it generally has Thousand Island dressing, and it has like hamburger and pastrami. Like they're very good, but they're like rough business.
Ooh.
That's so I think it's safe to say that we're both food appreciators and a little bit food perverts. And
Yeah.
the thing that I don't like Utah, I think at some point we should go through Utah on a short trip. We have a tour guide already. And there are a couple things that we need to take part in. One is going into town because Salt Lake City is so much weirder than you would think. If you haven't been there, it's like somebody made a mold of a whole bunch of the same sort of basic looking blonde woman and a whole bunch of the same kind of douchey looking dude with like it's the Mormon look.
Yeah.
But because they're so repressed and they can't have real beer and they can't have any of the stuff that like makes people like let go of that stuff, they're like very uptight about smokers. They're very like like, oh, you want to have fun? Let's go to the movies. Like that's what Utah is. And because of that, they have some fucked up food, but they have a ton of Greek food. And a lot of it is like Greek that's been morphed into American food. So it's like the burgers and stuff. They have funeral potatoes, which are fantastic. And they have a lot of like dinery stuff that's just out and about, which I really appreciate. They have a giant granite sculpture of a seagull that's at the church. That's important. You can also the church was one of my favorite things to walk through, the primary church, because they have a lot of very thirsty Jesus in there, and that very thirsty Jesus is always around a bunch of like sheep and goats, and it's like it's a very like this is a 100% white man Jesus, but he is like he does have abs and he's like ooh, and then there's like a bunch of that kind of stuff around there, and then you walk outside and there's just a big seagull and they're like the holy bird. It's very strange. There's a lot of outdoor malls, and there's a lot of like vending machines and shit. It's like somebody took the idea of like sort of most popular America and tried to make it again with a bad budget in a place that sucks, and that's what happened. But they got lots of hot cocoa and they got lots of weird shit like that because they can't do real people things. So instead they've just
funeral
turned
potatoes.
they've just turned into like Pleasantville out there. And it's worth seeing.
Yeah, that sounds pretty interesting to experience at
There's
least.
a lot of food though. That's I went to a very large version of a Brazilian barbecue out there. They went to a weird place that was like an indoor smoking club. There were like a bunch of old weird dudes smoking cigars, but it was just we serve steak here. it's like I kind of love this place, but I never want to come back unless there's a good reason.
A lot of the indoor smoking places that I've been to kind of have that vibe.
Yeah.
And I kind of love it. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, like now in COVID times, thinking about an indoor smoking place is like, Jesus.
Like if we get back to safety, more or less, I like those places, but it's the kind of place where you go, you have like a couple of strong drinks, usually shot drinks, and like a slightly too big steak, and then you go to sleep. And it doesn't matter what time of day it is, you go and you go to sleep. And I'm fine with that. That sounds nice. Yeah. I never sleep otherwise like a real human, so I may as well put myself to sleep with a blanket made out of whiskey and steak once in a while, and secondhand smoke.
That'll do it. That does do it. That makes you sleepy.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. What a warm blanket. So pleasant. So comforting.
We call that a grandpa blanket.
Yeah. I mean, that makes sense.
Uh-huh. Um, we'll never go to Arizona, though. Fuck Arizona.
But the cactuses.
I do
Cacti.
100%. That's why I went there, was to see cactuses, and I got to see it. I got to ride around in a golf cart on the side. It was like the edge of a golf course where some relatives of an ex lived, and they just had a golf cart and a fuck ton of cactuses around this weird, like, old folks area, and it's just like, there's cactus. It was fun, but that was like 100% why I went.
That's why I would go.
Yeah.
Mm.
I don't like how many fucking scorpions there are, though.
Did you see a lot of scorpions while you were there?
I saw a couple, and I saw a tree that was outside of a barbecue place that had a sign under it that was like, "Don't get near this tree. It's full of scorpions 24/7."
Oh my god. Don't mind that. It's our scorpion tree. Just like
It was
don't.
literally their scorpion tree, and it was very close to the barbecue place, and it was like, I remember thinking, why don't they remove this? And kind of coming to the realization that, like, they think it's like kitschy to have a scorpion tree. Like, fuck off with that. I don't need a scorpion tree
Your
around.
scorpions aren't cute, Arizona. We don't like
No.
it. What is it with America and having trees that'll kill you?
I don't know.
I don't know.
The more I learn about death trees, the less I like them.
Ugh. Oh man. My brother is going to school in Arizona, so I will probably be making a trip out there at some point. I don't know.
I mean, that's a good excuse to be there, see cactus, and
then leave. Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe have a margarita or something. I don't know.
Oh, yeah, for sure. If you're in Arizona or any of those shitty states, have some drinks. Like, absolutely. I don't have the coffee because it sucks out there. I went and got coffee a couple of times while I was in Arizona, and it's probably a collection of the worst coffee I've ever had. So I wouldn't suggest that.
All right. Well,
Especially Starbucks out there. It seemed like it was run by people who stumbled in there that morning and learned how to make coffee from seeing the machines. It was very rough. I did get a dark fluid from them, but I can't really say much else about it.
Well, my brother is working at Dutch Bros there, so I have a solid source
Arizona?
of bad coffee. Yeah.
Okay. Well, that Dutch Brothers is basically ice cream that's been melted into a cup, so it's probably fine.
Not much coffee to worry about there in that scenario.
I've had more than I want of Dutch Brothers coffee in my lifetime. It's sort of my my biological mom's go-to because it's usually, I think, the place that's open near where they live in southern Washington. Yeah. It's not that the syrups are bad, it's that I don't like syrup coffee very much. So going to a place to get very strong syrup is not really my thing.
Yeah, I don't know. Usually anytime that I've gone there, I get tea.
Yeah.
Because I'm also not a huge fan. Occasionally I'll have, like, I think it's the kicker that's like the Irish cream one or something, but
that sounds like a coffee you could get out of a vending machine, and I'm kind of into that.
Yeah. They kind of, yeah.
Irish cream and most versions of hazelnut are very, like, not low class or anything like that. They're just, like, kind of gross in a way that I want. Irish cream especially. I used to get Irish cream coffees with whiskey in them from a deviant cafe that I would hang out in. And it was gross every time, but it was also like, yeah. I do want these mashed together in a cup. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks. I think there is something kind of magical about like really shitty like gas station coffee too.
Yep.
I had that experience this weekend driving back. Um, the person I was traveling with, I just got regular like drip or whatever, but the person I
Yeah.
was traveling with went in there and did something real fucked up. I
Did
don't even
they?
know what he got, but he I think it was like a mixture of uh cappuccino, like a cappuccino machine,
Yep.
uh some amount of like mocha maybe, and
Did
then
he toss in the this has extra caffeine in it coffee? Because those taste disgusting.
maybe, I don't know, but I there were a lot of extra squirts of like hazelnut creamer or
God.
syrup or something. It was very very sweet. It was a lot and very foamy, which I like.
you
But
get
like
you get those extra squirts in there, it might get a little foamy.
it was like foamy, but like I tried like one drink of it and it was foamy, but at the same time like a little there's like a little grit to the foam. It's like the
Oh,
perfect the perfect texture that you want out of a gas station drink. But
I appreciate that level of commitment. As long as all of those experiments are good, as long as it gets used, then it's a successful
I
experiment.
mean, he drank it all and enjoyed it. That's his
Yeah.
thing. I tried it and I like one sip was a good enough experience. I don't
Uh-huh.
think I could do more of that, but it was very fun. I think the gas station coffee experience is pretty good.
Uh, there's a thing that I always wanted to get everybody to try, but I could only make it when I was at a cafe for a job because I needed all the materials to do it. And it
Mhm.
was this like watermelon mocha thing that I would add some stuff to that would almost give it like a sandy texture. And
Oh,
it was it was like everything that isn't a watermelon with watermelon flavor, just sort of like, yeah, it was
is
it
it
was
just coffee or was like there's some amount of dairy in it as well that was
no, there wasn't, it wasn't a dairy product. I put like rice milk in it. So uh
still.
I like basically puffed up a watermelon mocha with rice milk, and then we had like a cookie butter kind of thing that got put in it that gave it that like grit. And
Jesus.
I think I also put like a quad shot in it just to like really amp it up. Uh, and I made that for a couple people. They didn't let me make stuff on the machine very often because
I cannot imagine why.
yeah, something about the part where I I don't take things that people take seriously very seriously myself sometimes. I made fine coffee. I cared a lot about the coffee, but uh, I think that might have affected the trust they had in me sometimes. Also, that one time that I played like 2 straight hours of Shock the Monkey on um, the like overhead radio also probably bothered them.
You yeah, you might have tested their trust a little bit.
I thought it was funny that the end of the day people were studying to a song about masturbation for 2 hours. It's a
You're not
university
wrong.
cafe. Yeah,
But I can
like,
see why they maybe didn't let you use the
I guess.
machine. uh, God, watermelon mocha? What possessed you to create such a thing?
Well, I looked through the syrups and I went, this doesn't look good. It was one of those syrups that like no one ever uses, and I think we only had it because people would get like Italian sodas and they were hoping they would drink that, and they didn't. They would get like cherry or whatever boring people want for Italian sodas. And
Mm.
I liked making Italian sodas because it was basically like just this side of curdling milk. Like it always felt like nah. and I drank a few of them. Like, I'm not going to serve people something I didn't try, but it just wasn't really my thing with the milk in it. Or the, whatever type of cream we would put in it whenever. But that watermelon never got used, so I figured we needed to find a use for it. The first person I gave some to, though, I definitely gave it to them as a, like, I made this drink. I would like it if you had some. So that also probably didn't help my case too much.
Yeah, I could see that not doing so hot for that. What do you think of those drinks that people? This is also a Dutch Bros thing. Okay. I don't think I like can't stand these, but people make not slush drinks, but like kind of a tea, but then they do like a what's it called? Like a Red Bull or a Dutch Bros, right, whatever their energy drink is, and put that like in it. I always think they're nasty, but have you ever made those?
So the things that are like basically a Slurpee with a Red Bull dumped in it?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. I tried a Red Bull cocktail kind of thing at a coffee place once. I think out here. I think since I've lived in this place. And it was fine. It was like I would rather just drink a Red Bull than drink this, though. Like, I don't need the additives. That's
my general feeling.
I have, however, had Red Bull and other energy drink cocktails, like actual cocktails, that I thought were good. I think it's just assholes thinking that it's going to work the other way, and then enough people are into it that it does work. So I guess we're the assholes. But I don't particularly like those drinks from the bit that I've had. I also don't like. I think tea is good as a mixer for very specific, very light things. You can make a sake and like I think you have some of it, that like very, very fruity, like cherry German tea.
Yeah.
You can make a sake drink out of that and like heat it up well and all that kind of stuff, and it works fine, but it's a very specific flavor. I don't think you could do that with most teas, like make them into anything useful for something like a Red Bull. I also don't really appreciate the weird caffeinated teas from Starbucks.
Oh, yeah.
That's a thing that Nick gets a lot, like the 24 ounce. Yeah, 24 ounce, like glorp of slightly colorful caffeine fluid.
Yeah. I mean, taste-wise, I'd agree with you, but I did get the dragon fruit one so much just because it's so pink. Yeah. I liked it a lot.
Yeah.
Although it did kind of ruin it for me one time when I went to get one and they were like, we don't have the like they didn't have the dehydrated fruit shit that they put in it, and I guess that's what makes it pink. And so I just got like a clear refresher, and
it's not clear. Bad, it's kind of piss colored.
It's kind of piss colored.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, it's neither tastes good nor is pink. So
that's the other thing. Nick gets it specifically without the bits in it every time. He just gets caffeine fluid.
Why?
Yeah, exactly.
I don't understand that. But like the pink, the dehydrated stuff doesn't really add or detract anything from it other than like the color. Does he just not like the color?
It's the bits. I don't think he wants the bits. Yeah.
But you don't even have to have the bits. They float on top. And they make it pink.
He's a crazy person.
I don't understand these decisions.
I don't either. Now this is what it's gonna be when you experience roommate living, is everything is gonna be like, yeah, that's totally normal. And there's gonna be like one or two things that just happen on a daily basis where you're like, what the fuck are they doing?
We've had a couple of moments like that already, but
Okay.
it's so far it hasn't been anything that I wasn't kind of expecting just because I have known her for a while.
Also,
So
even same normal shit will happen that's weird, and that's just part of it. But there are certain little things that everybody has that are just like, what is your problem? How could you possibly be like this?
yeah,
Those are
I
some of my favorite things about people, honestly.
I'm excited to see more of those things. So far, it's uh what was there are just a couple of things that she our apartment was like not super deep cleaned for some reason when we moved in. So she ended up cleaning a lot of it, which I super appreciated because I wasn't there. But so I told her like anything that you specifically don't want to do, I will do it. And she was like really really upset. And maybe this is because she works in a kitchen. She was really upset about the fact that uh, between like the oven and the sides of the counters, like that little
Yeah.
slit was just nasty, like full of crumbs and stuff.
Yeah.
Which to me is like I don't really care. I would clean it out, but it's not going to bother me, like keep me up at night. But it was like
Right.
something that she was like, I cannot cook in this kitchen until the crumbs are out. So I had to like stick a knife down there because it's not even the kind of oven that we could really pull out from the wall.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that
I
was
I think weird bits of cleanliness stuff are often the things that pop up first. Um, like here, I tend to be like I tend to be clean and organized, but like cluttery. That's probably like my basic description. Uh, Nick tends to be like I'm not really sure how to put it. Nick tends to be like a little bit cluttery too. Like we both have a pretty even understanding on like, yeah, sometimes you're just gonna have like stuff you're working on around because that's what people do.
yeah.
Which has been different depending on people I've lived with. So I was happy that that happened. The cleanliness thing is weird because I think that's the biggest departure. My approach is anytime something becomes dirty or starts to, I'll clean it because like it'll only take a minute. It's not a big deal.
Mm-hmm.
And for Nick, whenever something has been dirty for long enough, he'll deep clean a bunch of stuff, and a lot of that stuff will be purely performative. So it's this weird like today I'm going to clean every single surface of the kitchen because then I will feel good about cleaning the kitchen. Where for me,
Mm-hmm.
it's like I'm going to clean the sink and then maybe tomorrow I'm cleaning a counter because you can just clean it. You don't have to like wait and make it like a big thing. Um, little bits like that I think are very easy to deal with though because it kind of defines like what jobs you do the best.
Yeah. I
Where
think I am probably more similar to Nick
yeah,
in that regard. I think I will generally wait until things get to a point where it's like I'm stressed out about how dirty it is, and then
hmm
I'll like panic clean for a little bit.
yeah,
But like focus on something that and deep clean one specific thing that's really kind of inconsequential
uh
to the
huh,
entire room. But yeah, I could get that. It's
yeah.
yeah.
Well, it helps to have both of those personalities, which I'm guessing your roommate's going to be like me if they're a cook, because that's sort of the like you can't let stuff sit. Like it will only
Yeah.
get worse if you use the kitchen a lot. So
And I didn't think about this while I was looking at the pictures, but we don't have a dishwasher.
yeah, I
So
this is one of the only places I've had a dishwasher that I use. Uh, that is actually like perfect for people like me, where it's well, I'm done using this, I will clean it and put it away. But dishwasher people like Nick is specifically a dishwasher person.
I'm a
Uh,
dishwasher person.
once it's like only the smallest snag has to happen for a dishwasher to be out of sync with your use, and then you're fucked. And that can be rough.
Yeah, I could see that. I'm a dishwasher person, and I like unloading the dishwasher. I do not like loading the dishwasher.
Yeah, I don't know. My hands are already really dry from like paper and shit, so I feel like kind of sandpapery and gross unloading a dishwasher, but
Mm-hmm.
I'll load a dishwasher. So like that kind of stuff usually works itself out. Uh,
Yeah.
I when I came here, I had been not using a dishwasher for so long that I fully intended not to use it even living here. But then I found out that having a dish drying rack, if you're me, means a place to put your dishes to dry to use again later. And if you're Nick and a dish drying rack exists, it means putting all of your dishes so you don't have to put them anywhere until later. So it
Mm-hmm.
just kind of turned into a like, okay, well I put my dishes down, but now there's like a stack of stuff drying on top of it, so I can't use it. Uh, so I would say do the thing that I had asked about doing when I moved in here with things like that, and just use both dish racks and make sure that that's sort of well intentioned early, because
Yeah.
all that stuff's going to get weird. All of the roommate stuff will always be like great until somebody gets lazy for a minute, and then you'll see what their actual habits are.
Yeah, that'll be fun. That'll be a
Yeah,
fun adventure to deal with. I think like she and I are both not super high strung about it, about
that's
like
good.
counter space or like dirty dishes being in there for a little while, but we've kind of made like a verbal pact to try and address dishes together so
Yeah,
it gets done faster. And chances are we'll probably be like eating together a lot of the time anyway.
right.
Or at least
You
I
made
will
a
be making an effort to be eating whatever she's eating.
yeah. Fair enough.
Yeah.
You will make a verbal pact to not be dirt people as often as possible.
I will
um,
try my best.
my favorite thing here, and I bet this could be a thing that happens there, is Nick will wash his clothes in tiny loads like every couple of days, and and I know your habits and they're very similar to mine. I will wash my clothes once a month in the largest pile of shit.
Yes.
Just like and then it'll like be folding my clothes takes I enjoy it, so it doesn't really matter, but it takes like an hour and a half to
Yeah.
like slowly work through everything that I washed. um I just I don't see a point in stuff like that unless you're doing a bunch of it at once, but then you do kind of just have a big old hamper full of dirty clothes sitting around for a while, so you know.
Yeah, just out of frame is my large laundry pile.
Excellent.
So, yeah, I'm very much a do laundry as infrequently as possible.
Wear everything you own that you're comfortable wearing
Yes.
and then wash it.
Yes.
Yeah. And usually I put some jeans in the freezer around that time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good way to go.
Hmm.
Ah, okay. Everything makes sense.
What?
I was reading the back of this, and it's like it has the breakdown of the cocktail in here, and it's so the Cutwater brand tequila with natural orange lime and triple sec flavors. I don't think you can have a natural triple sec flavor,
Okay.
but on the back it says 2+ shots of tequila, and I was like, oh, that
There you go.
that makes sense. So I'm pretty comfy.
Yeah, one shot of tequila is pretty comfortable, I feel like. Multiple shots of tequila is
Yeah. I'm
pretty
about I'm
comfortable.
like halfway through this, so that Makes sense.
Well, let me make a mistake to work with that. Here's a cup. I do have some added things around. Here's a wine that was used to make a roast that Nick made recently.
Oh, are you going to make the... I don't remember what it's called. The cola and red wine.
Yeah. I'm not. I'm gonna see about something else. This is a thing that I've heard about, but I've never heard confirmation that it's a real thing. So what I have here in this reused bottle for alcohol is a coffee concentrate used to make at-home iced coffee. So what I'm gonna do
oh no
is just darken this up.
Oh dear God.
I'll just use like half of it.
Wait, so you said you were
that's more than half.
That was way more than half. You were wanting confirmation that this is a thing?
Well, so I've heard of it, but I don't remember where, and I don't remember how reputable the person was who told me. It may have been a trick that a bartender played on me, because I've had a lot of nights with like just me and a bartender that have been like, hey, let me try those things, and then being like, yeah, all right. So Manja. I'm gonna have to add some wine to that.
Yeah, I mean that was concentrate. You used the whole thing, so that makes sense.
It was only half of a concentrate thing. It's not too much. Depending on what too much means. It is very dark wine.
That is very dark. Yeah. It kind of just looks like a cup of coffee.
It's not bad. It is a little weird. It's not bad. Let me just lighten it up a little bit. There we go. That'll help.
Yeah. I can't remember what that cocktail is called. Like the one that's red wine and cola.
It's actually...
But it is a thing.
Yeah. I wish I could remember the name of it, but...
I keep wanting to call it axolotl, but I know it's not axolotl.
I keep wanting to call it mestizo, and it's not that either. So
axolotl mestizo.
Yeah, that's actually my my new club name.
I'm gonna Google this.
I'll Google the other thing and see if it's real.
Drink. What's this called? Cali. I don't know how to pronounce this.
The thing I get initially when I look this up is oh, weird. Okay, so there's a Wine Turtle blog article. Coffee and wine are both highly aromatic, and you might think mixing them sounds a bit odd, but it actually makes a lot of sense.
Oh, okay, I'm sold.
But yeah, type in wine and coffee mix, and the first thing that comes up on Google is, can you mix wine and coffee? And then a thing that says, according to the CDC, mixing caffeine and alcohol is not good for you because it leads you to drinking more alcohol, which I would say in a context where I had more alcohol to drink than just this, I would agree with them. But since 1/3 of this is wine, I'm going to go ahead and say I'm not going to be led into drinking much more alcohol than this. And in fact, I might even not drink all of this because it's very strong flavors mixed together.
Seems like it would be very unique.
It is unique. It's... I might bottle this and keep it or like shots, because like it's not terribly like strong in like any one direction, but it's got like a it's got the kind of flavor that something that like how people smoke a cigar and it's like interesting for like 2 or 3 minutes and you're like, yeah,
I'm
that's a lot
down.
of cigar. This is the cigar of drinks.
Okay. That makes sense.
Like it's good, but like I I will probably drink a third of this and then have to wait for the rest of it. Anyway, I'll just I'll put it in a flask and take it to work. That'll help me out with stuff. That actually brings me to an interesting side topic-y kind of thing, which is in the world of let's call this this is the appropriate instrument for this. Welcome to Self-Diagnosis Corner.
My favorite corner.
So I think I explained last week about how I was having some acid reflux issues. Those have been pretty much quelled. Like I haven't been having those problems, and I've upped my water, all that kind of stuff. It's been very helpful. Still, I don't sleep super well, so I'm like trying to be careful about like getting good and like at the right time sleep and all that. But like that's probably the most difficult part. The problem is those muscle spasms I got from like having really bad sleep and like body exhaustion and acid reflux. Those fucked with me a bit. So now I have like, of course, it has to be soreness around like my sternum and stuff because that never freaks you out.
Yeah.
But the nice thing is there's on the Occam's razor edge, the most reasonable explanation is a pretty like it makes a lot of sense. It also kind of sucks. So when I had the muscle spasms and stuff, I've never had them that bad again. But what I have gotten just recently, and it freaked me out, was I had right to the left of my sternum, but like very like on the surface, is just like sore. And at night, especially when I'm starting to get more tired, it hurts. And it'll be like a pain that kind of like wells up and then goes away a little bit. And initially I was like, all right, well, maybe I'll just die then. Like, maybe this is just how I go.
This is it.
Yeah, which is always my first thought with that kind of stuff. And I was like, okay, well, like, is my heart fucking off? Like, is there something weird? And I kept checking my pulse and like my extremities and all the normal things you check. It was all completely normal. Like, none of it is even like I didn't even have a hard pulse. I just had like regular, like for me, regular, like 65, 70, like that range beats per minute. And like the pressure was like not super hard or anything weird like that. So I was like, okay, well, I've had this pain on and off for like an hour and I'm on my way to bed. Maybe it'll just go away. So I went to bed. I woke up and it was like gone for a while. But once I started like moving and like holding positions for like a couple hours, it started to come back. So I was like, all right, well, I guess I have to find out what this is about. And like for no other reason than to just be like, I can't just think about this all the time. Like I have to figure something out. And instantly when I started looking stuff up, it was like, oh yeah, that happens to people all the time in relation to muscle spasms and changes in like workout routines and all this stuff. Like basically every single thing that's changed with like this year, but also in general. And the thing that I found is called costochondritis, apparently. Which isn't like a disease or anything like that. It's literally just like the name for this kind of like weird muscle problem. And it apparently happens almost exclusively on the left side of your sternum where your rib cage connects. The thing that's really annoying is what happens is it's one of the things that happens when you've like had stresses and adjusted like your exercise and lifted something. And on Sunday when I went to work, they left a whole bunch of boxes of paper that were just like big ass boxes of paper, and we're like, just put it in the back. So of course, like I carried these like big ass boxes of paper to the back. The last one I kicked, but like, you know, they're not, you've seen those, they're kind of a pain in the ass.
Yeah.
And that's when it started up. So that's pretty clearly what happened to it. And the good news is it can last for a couple of hours. The bad news is it can last for a couple of months, depending on just where it is and what happens and how much like you sort of have like natural interaction with it. It's basically a fancy word for a muscle pull or like a muscle strain, but it sucks because it is right in the right kind of spot where you're just like, I can't ignore it. Like back pain I've had since I was a kid in spurts. I can ignore that. Like hand and wrist pain I've had forever because I've constantly done tiny things with my hands and wrists. I can ignore that. Stuff that is right in the center of my chest, I can't ignore it.
That's the worst.
So basically, the answer is first bit of advice: don't be a bitch about it. The second bit of advice is like basically take ibuprofen and Tylenol when it is uncomfortable, and you can. Oh, very bold of you, actually, that drink. I hadn't noticed how bold it was.
Thank you.
And then the last bit of advice was, if it lasts for a super long time and you're tired of it, you do have an option, and it's go get a big like injection from a doctor of like a steroidal thing specifically to like help repair it. It's like, I'm not going to get a fucking needle in my chest just because I have a pain that is bothering me. But it does bother me that that's the suggestion on the step 3.
There's no middle steps in between.
The middle step is like self-medicate safely and like try to just
go get a needle in your chest.
Deal with it. And then the third option is like, why don't you just like fucking do it? I don't know. It was really interesting to learn about, honestly, because it's so exactly what's happening in the description that oftentimes when you look up medical stuff, and I've learned how to do it less shittily over the years just because I have that like hypochondriac tendency. But I think a lot of people make the mistake of being like, I'm going to go to WebMD and type in some symptoms, and then every symptom you can type into WebMD is going to be like, well, you do have mega cancer, and you also have like, you have a problem with that cancer that's going to like shoot a bullet at your heart. So like, you should probably go to a doctor yesterday, and you're going to die anyway. So don't worry about it. Like that is every WebMD search. So I've learned to go through like very specific symptoms and omit a lot of words that are like words people use when they're like panicking.
Right.
And that's helped a lot. But I definitely remember when I was like first moved out of my parents' house and had like the wrong kind of like soreness one day, just being like, the internet says I'm gonna die. Is that true? Trying to like figure out what to do about that.
Now I feel like just part of getting older is anytime I have a new or feel some sort of new weird physical sensation, I just immediately think that I'm dying or my body is failing somehow.
I think that's just the way some people age is to just be waiting for death if something like that happens.
Because one thing that happened, like when I was driving back from Boise, now that like thinking back, I'm pretty sure this is just because we were like rising in altitude. But I just felt incredible pressure like on my whole head. It just felt like bad. and I didn't think about it, and I was like, well, this is it. I'm like having a stroke while I'm driving a
Yeah.
car. This is like how I die, right?
Of
And
course.
yeah, right. Horrible, but it's a good skill to be able to cut out like the panic words that people usually use when they're looking up symptoms. But I also have very weird I still don't really know what this is, but very weird like occasional chest pains,
Mm.
but it like in the center of my chest it feels kind of surface level, but it feels like as if I'm being almost impaled through my chest because I feel it like through my back in the same spot, and it's so
Right.
weird. And I've tried to describe this to so many doctors, and they're like, I don't know, you're probably having like a panic attack. And I'm like,
Yeah.
I don't think so, but
The
I can't
problem
really
is
disprove it.
a lot of that stuff is weirdly common, and the fact that we don't just have a way to describe it to each other sucks. Because
Yes.
like mine, the only reason why I have been able to like keep myself from being the panicky asshole that I totally could be is because I was raised to like sort of ignore things unless there were big warning signs. So like
Mm.
for me, I've learned pretty well how to identify like stress reactions and things, which eventually I assume in some later age will be what gets me like in major trouble. But as I'm like a younger person, I don't have a history of like heart problems in my family. I don't have a history of like the biggest issues that I would have are like gastrointestinal problems, and I already know those exist because my stomach literally goes like like all day every day sometimes. So like I know that that stuff is going to make those noises, and I
Yeah.
know that I'm going to be like muscularly uncomfortable sometimes because my stress if I'm not paying attention, will like get my body all tense.
Very.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you know all about that. We've had those conversations, but like, we
Hmm.
both are great shouldered people. I like to think, and um, that really helps us out with mysterious pains as well. Um,
Oh yeah. Hmm.
I I don't know the the stuff that is more surface level is almost always muscular or like on rare occasion nerve based pain, and a lot of that stuff really isn't a big deal unless it becomes a big deal on like of its own accord. um,
Yeah.
but so many of those things are like, if especially so 2020, I had a ramp up about halfway through of a lot of that stuff, and a lot of it is because I can't work out as much or as in the same ways that I usually do.
Hmm.
So like not being able to do that, at least I can identify a lot of those pains. But then again, the scariest horror story I've listened to in a long time, I listened to last week, and it was I I'm not going to tell you what it is, but it was a horror story in a podcast that I like. But this particular one was a very regular medical occurrence that is like scary, but it's also like there's not really anything to like trump up about it or anything weird like that. And
Mm.
it it was like 10 minutes of a story, and by the time it was like ending, I was at work and I was like sweating. I was so like disturbed by it, and it was the simplest thing ever. Like I it's upsetting how easy it is to like certain things to just turn up your like panic, where like for me the scariest stories you can think of, I love those, but there's just a couple topics where it's just like I can't
Oh
uh
no.
like not related to that, but there's a I want to say there's like a what's it like a creepy pasta episode of Last Podcast that's from like a year and a half ago or something, and they decided to just go off on one of the scary stories they did was just a description of this one kind of medical anomaly that can happen with people's hearts where it can just shut off. Like it just kind of stops working, and it usually stops working like in the middle of the night. And it's that thing of like there's nothing to say about it or do about it.
I don't like that.
But it's one of those things where it's like almost the less information I have, the better on that stuff. Like,
yeah,
I can't be walking around thinking about
your heart.
the amazing heart-stopping anomaly. I can't think about that shit. But at the same time, I think human combustion is very interesting. That doesn't bother me at all. Like the things that do happen occasionally that are like very mysterious are like, I don't give a shit. Like the idea of death bothers me less than the idea of sudden just heart failure out of nowhere. For some reason. But I don't know. It sucks that we're all like weird sacks of meat that are just supposed to work properly. Like all of those meat valves just are supposed to do what they do, and that's it.
Mm-hmm.
It's very disturbing to me that that's all we have going for us is like that. And there are still people out there who are like, God, if I just had more money, it would be awesome. Like, fuck off.
Did you ever in high school have a maybe this might have just been a local thing, but I remember there was a stretch of like a bunch of different high school aged kids had like weird heart failures.
Yeah.
You remember this? Okay, and like maybe it was a national thing. I don't know if it was a mixture of like energy drinks or I think some of the people I remember their stories, it was like what you're describing, the middle of the night, your heart just like not working anymore.
Yeah.
And because of this happening, I remember people setting up a bunch of like local testing centers for like high schoolers for your heart.
They did less of that out here, but like we had one of my classmates in high school was like the trigger for a lot of that stuff around here. I didn't know them well, but it was literally they were running track like a meet, and they like died instantly mid-run. And it was like a weird heart thing that just appeared.
Yeah, that's kind of what the stories were over here.
Yeah, it's the same rash of stuff. That shit is very like freaky, but it kind of just disappeared, which I don't really get either.
Yeah, it seemed like people were really freaked out about it for a couple of months, and there was a bunch of testing, and then nobody really ever mentioned it again.
Yeah, like when I think that was the year I graduated, we had a somebody coming up from the like freshman like the freshman training team that happened to. I had people after college that just sort of died suddenly, but it was because there was a group that I didn't really join in with that was a very cocaine heavy group in art school. And like, I don't need to tempt fate with that shit. Also, I don't have any interest to be like more awake. So doesn't really hold any sway over me on that.
Yeah.
All I know about Coke is that apparently it tastes kind of like ham in your mouth sometimes, and that's already unappealing for a powder. So I don't have any interest in that.
Oh, powdered ham flavor? Yeah, I don't know about that.
I lived through most of my drugness by having a friend who was actively at the same time testing how many drugs they could try once, which I don't think worked out exactly how they wanted it. I did meet some drug dealers that were very interesting through them.
Nice.
Which when I'm not looking for drugs is very funny to like meet those people and just be like, are you having a good day? It's like, how's the drugs going?
How's business?
Also being the like the protection, like going with a friend to like get these drugs, and it's just like I'm not protection. Like oh, I guess yeah, it's the height, I think, is the only thing.
Yeah.
But like I looked goofier when that was happening. There was a period of time when that particular set of events was happening where not only did I have braces, because I got braces in college, I also had like mutton chops that were into the mustache. Like I took the chin part off and was like, my life's already weird enough. I'm just
That's
gonna look like a
great.
fucking weirdo for a while. So I had this like weird like weep, and then like I had my glasses on most likely because I used to wear them more when I was just out because like the weird muttony thing required something to balance it. So I would wear glasses, but then when I'd go like get food or something, I'd just take them off anyway because like it's not doing anything here. And then going with like that's the under the the underpass near Green Lake where the like sex workers were and the blind guy in the car selling weed. That was during that time. That was actually somebody else, but during that time, because apparently more than one person was like, "You come with me to buy these drugs." But the experience with Big Worm and the like weird drug house. Big Worm was the dealer. Like
it's a good dealer name.
That drug house that I ended up at again for like a weird, completely unrelated party. It was the same house, and a guy that I know that was working with me at the cafe showed up there, and then I think that was the last time I saw him until like last year when he showed up on the internet in my stuff as like a rabid like not a Trump supporter but like a pseudo vax denial person. Anyway, I don't do drugs. I drink coffee. That's enough. I have enjoyed being around other people doing drugs, except for the one thing I went to where literally everybody in this group of one friend and like I think it was like a group of 8 gay friends that all knew each other well. My friend and then me brought along for some reason, and every single one of them did a line of coke. And when it got to me, I was like, "Oh, I don't do coke," and it was the most like I don't know why I'm here either. Like, but art people are good to get in with if you want stories like that, I guess.
They sound like a good time.
Yeah. A lot of those experiences were with grocery store people, though, like not art people's. Like, grocery store people can be fucking weird, too. Everybody can be. Well, last night, after I got back from work, we watched Shin Godzilla at my place, which I've been waiting about a month to have actually happen. And I hadn't seen it since it was in the theater, and I can announce it is still good, and it's still very weird.
Excellent.
Have you seen that one?
Mm-mm.
Have you seen any Godzilla?
I remember seeing one Godzilla movie, and I can't really remember many details about it, although I do remember it's like I for some reason vividly remember like a helicopter at the end, like a helicopter crash. I think there was a famous child actor in it. This is not narrowing it down at all, but I don't.
It was an American Godzilla.
I think so.
Was it Millie Bobby Brown?
Maybe.
Were there more than 2 monsters in it?
Yes, it was like I can't remember if there was a King Kong situation, but there were two monsters battling it out.
Okay. You probably saw the one from a couple years ago, if it was recent, and if not, you probably saw one of the like destroy all monsters kind of movies from a while ago.
I think that's probably closer
Uh,
to what it was.
yeah, I don't know. There's a lot. I just sent you a nice little set of my favorite Godzilla gifs. I was trying to explain to after that Godzilla movie, trying to explain to my roommate that like Godzilla movies are always goofy if they're good. They just also have like serious parts. Like that's what a kaiju movie is. And one of my favorites is the Mothra stuff because they have two finger-sized twin women who sing songs about Mothra and talk about Mothra. And it's just like the weirdest but very endearing kind of movie. And
I really like this Mothra that I'm looking at. It's
the
pretty.
one that's dragging, yeah. Mothra and Mecha Mothra are both very entertaining. But the new Godzilla looks like it's probably the American one looks like it's probably going to have mecha stuff in it, just based on some stuff people are speculating and hearing about. And I think that's going to be a train wreck because I don't think America knows what Godzilla is supposed to be. Because Godzilla is literally climate change. Like that's sort of the point of Godzilla. It's a disaster, like sort of a disaster alternative, and it started with the atom bomb, and it has developed into climate crisis. Like the Japanese ones are about that. Even if they're about like the Fukushima reactor, which the one that the Shin Godzilla is more or less about that, they're still about like the unsettling of the earth by humans. The ones from America are like kind of just about big monsters that are big monsters, and that's really frustrating as like a fan of that kind of movie. Are the American Godzilla movies are much more like Gamera movies, which are a big turtle that shoots rockets out of its turtle holes sometimes. And those are really stupid and kind of fun, but that's more the level of like Godzilla movie that we have. And I
that
watched
seems closer to what I saw.
Yeah. I watched chunks of that most recent Godzilla movie from the US and I've seen the two before that, and they're just not good. Like the one with Bryan Cranston in it is okay, but it's not a good Godzilla movie. It's just like an okay movie. But all of those I could do without. How far down your tamarind tube are you? Oh, you still got a fair bit left.
I think it's time for another tamarind rim.
Yeah. Without context, that's always what it's time for.
No context needed.
It's also my favorite episode of VeggieTales where they do a Pacific Rim send-off. Though the version of Pacific Rim that would be in VeggieTales would be completely unwatchable because it would probably have to have a giant Jesus in it.
Maybe. Man, I haven't thought about VeggieTales in like 10 years.
It's because it's terrible.
Yeah. Real bad.
Mm-hmm.
That's funny. Actually, it'd be kind of funny to rewatch some of those.
I mean, I can look and see where
them.
they're streaming. Yeah, I can get on that.
What's the one where there's a treehouse and they have to go to a local grocery store? And I think it's a lesson about like gluttony or something because they fill the treehouse with too much stuff and then it like catapults.
Right.
Does this sound familiar?
Vaguely. A lot of those really bad religious shows blend together in my head, but VeggieTales has such a specifically bad look that I do tend to remember that stuff. Like, I'll never scrub Where Is My Hairbrush from my memory, and I fucking hate that song.
Why? It's so good.
um, and
What
they
about
were,
the manatee one? That one's
I,
good too.
I feel like they found every excuse to put them on a ship that they could. Every time they could be on like a boat, they were like, yeah, put them on a boat. We love to see these wet vegetables, everybody. Yeah, I just don't like them. I would rather watch 4 hours of Bible Man than 2 episodes of VeggieTales, but
Oh, for sure.
but if I can find VeggieTales out there to watch, I'll do it.
I think Bible Man also ranks higher for me just because
Yeah.
of everything.
I
So
mean, it's so much worse, and their allusions to Bible stuff are like they're worse, but they're also just like so much more literal. Like I feel like there's scenes I remember of Bible Man like literally like uh losing his Bible for a while and like sin coming for him in different
yeah.
ways that are just like so stupid. And I feel like his lightsaber thing didn't work if he wasn't like hopped up on the Lord enough. So like that was always an issue of like I can't get the sword of like justice to come out because my Jesus boner is not up enough for this. And he had that stupid Clark Kent thing of like, shh, nobody tell them that I'm the guy who looks just like Bible Man.
Jesus. I forgot about that. I forgot there is like a double
Yeah.
identity. Oh god.
It's like they had to just keep making up weird shit to fill the time of a Bible Man episode. Because who the fuck would watch a Bible Man episode? And it turns out assholes like us watched it as children because those channels were always available.
Well, well, in my particular experience, the video was provided for me. So
Right.
we have the actual. They're probably in a box somewhere. I would actually love to get them out and read the packaging on that. But
I'm
the
gonna need you to think about doing that because that's
yeah,
actually a very good idea.
yeah, I kind of want to see those. I'm pretty sure we still have the video cassettes
Yeah.
somewhere. Oh boy, that's fun.
That could be a very good project for the future. I feel like there's a lot of people who don't know what Bible Man is, and that needs to be
Oh.
rectified.
More people need to be brought into this nightmare that
Do
is
you,
Bible Man.
do you think I could make an unofficial Bible Man comic if I like change something about it? I'm
Uh-huh.
sure I could, right? Like if he was like if it was Bibleman and his name was like Patrick Bibleman with an I instead of an A in the man part, but everything else was
Kind of
the
like that.
same.
Mhm.
Yeah, maybe I could
Or
make
like,
his
uh,
lightsaber a different color.
yeah. Uh, I love that they really just mixed together like Batman and Star Wars, and they
Yeah,
were like Batman, Star Wars, and Jesus. That's a great combination. That all makes
yeah.
sense. And then just incredibly low budget costumes.
What?
What?
I didn't know there was a cartoon until recently, but there is a cartoon as
Oh
well.
god, the cartoon almost ruins everything for me.
Yeah,
It's so horrifying looking.
yeah. I. And I know I've mentioned it before, but that fucking cherubim show is a nightmare. Everybody needs to see that. I also keep finding and saving more clips of Salty, sorry. Uh,
Salty.
and
Wow.
and Salty, for people unaware, Salty is a combination of the homeless man you saw the other day under a bridge and a book. And he has a purple face, and he is live action. He is not a cartoon, and he sings bad songs at kids. And do you remember the animal people that were in that show? Because he had like horrible mutated animal people who would just be there like, oh, this is cute, right? Like this fucking lady who was like a rat, but they put like a nose prosthetic on her that was just kind of like flattening and then like flesh ears, and it just looks disgusting. And
Ooh.
her like prosthetics are like very tight, so she's singing, but she's like, yeah, man, it's very gross. And that stuff's for kids.
I've actually never seen any of the live action or cartoon Salty stuff.
You've just heard it?
I've just heard it. So it's all up, like truly up, just up here.
Okay. Well, worse. That's good to know, because that'll get worse when you see it.
Oh, God. I just remember a very specific storyline in one of the cassettes that I listened to, where there's a mouse who wants to go to the city to become a singer, and she ends up getting like pseudo sent to hell because she thinks that she's like hot shit. It like genuinely terrified me as a kid.
Let me see if anybody has put a picture of the mouse in the live action up.
Is it Charity Church Mouse?
Yeah, I think it should be Charity.
Charity Church Mouse. I'm gonna look that up and see if I can.
Specifically from Salty.
Oh no!
Yeah, this isn't even the bad one.
This is horrible.
Yeah, so that is the less upsetting of the animal people on that show.
Are you serious?
Oh yes, there are way worse. Like the costuming is like all out of a trash can on that show. Yeah. And it gets really rough to look at.
These images are not pleasing.
Man, that's really exciting. I always assumed that you knew of it because you had seen some of it. I didn't know you had heard it.
No, purely all up in my imagination.
That really leaves a lot of amazing things for you to still witness.
Yeah. So there's potential for future episodes.
Yeah. Oh, man. This is a lot of hard stuff to search for, because I feel like the religious community knows what they did to an extent and do not put it out there very readily.
They don't want people to know.
Yeah. I just found out, so one of the groups that features some of the stuff sometimes, the Everything is Terrible people, they had their channel scrubbed off of YouTube like 6 months or so ago.
Oh, I saw your post about that.
Yeah, and there was no information about it. Like it turns out it was a lawsuit. It wasn't just it getting scrubbed of some kind, and it was from a fucking like church for kids thing. Like, all of those things are predatory, first off. If you're making money off of stuff for kids from the church, you're already a scumbag. Like, that's not a job. That's you being an asshole. And it was specifically a guy I had literally never seen before, and I've seen a lot. Like, I watched TBN constantly in college. Like, I looked for this stuff, and I've never seen him before. And it's a guy who does, like, group songs about, like, keeping your virginity. And it's just like the perfect example of the horrible kind of shit that comes out of that kind of church media. And the fact that those people can just sort of throw lawsuits around because they don't get taxed and they make money off of these like horrible ventures, while people who like Everything is Terrible is a leftist group of people. Like, they have come out much more as that lately. But they've always been that way. And the the fact that they just got steamrolled and literally like had a bunch of money that they could be getting just taken away, and that's not a problem because they might have affected this fucking thing from the 80s that doesn't matter and never mattered. It's really upsetting that like that's how we treat people with like law. It's always going to be the people who are like on the side of Jesus that'll win. And then it's always those people who are also going to be like complaining the hardest about how they never win.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway,
yeah.
That's my Jesus rant for today.
Today.
If you want to put a face to my anger, just type P salty, all one word, into Google and hit the image button, and you'll see why I'm upset, because I've lived my whole life with specters like that looming over me. It would take 100 muzzies to erase what I had to see on religious channels.
Even the good, for all the good that Muzzy does, it does not undo the damage of Bible Man's VeggieTales and Fox Salty also.
Yeah, Muzzy, bring your spaceship over here and eat all the time that I spent looking at horrible Christian TV shows.
God. Oh dear. I'm realizing now that a lot of the like media, Christian media that I consumed as a child was pretty much just like all audio based for some reason. I listened to a lot of cassette tapes.
Yeah, I did too, but it wasn't Christian cassettes. It wasn't Christian cassettes. Sorry, the devil was coming out. Yeah, I listened to cassettes, but they were... I did listen to some Christian cassettes, but they were my friends' cassettes, and it was only when I was around them.
I was probably like that friend for many people.
Yeah, you were the person who had like, oh, it's a detective story. Do you want to listen to it? And then you start listening to it, and it's like, and Deputy Dog found out that Jesus was the answer. Like, that's not a detective story.
Yeah.
Why, you can't be putting people in prison for praying, can you? Fucking things. I hate
that was too good. That was upsettingly good.
Well, I had to listen to a lot of it. I chose to listen to it a lot too because I thought it was so stupid. But nobody listens to a fucking 7-year-old when they're like, Jesus sucks! They don't, for some reason, take that seriously.
Please stop telling me about Jesus.
Yeah. I like the scary sculptures. I like all the art about stuff like this, but like I know that the books I read are stories that are fake. Why don't these people know that the stories they're reading are also those? Because it's kind of weird me reading The Hobbit and being like, ha, that's cool, and them reading the Bible and going like, this is important.
This happened.
This happened.
This is white.
Yeah. I just love Jesus's white skin and his chestnut brown beard and his blue eyes for sure.
Yeah.
He definitely wasn't an Arabic wizard.
Our white King Jesus.
I've heard people lately talk about like the Catholic Church being a cult again, which comes up like every few years, I feel like. And they're not wrong, but it's crazy to hear people who I know are religious talk about that when it's like, you know that you're in a religion that's like based off of that. Like
you're like not too far off from a similar situation.
And they're sort of the most like sort of orthodox old style version of it, but you literally have a watered down version of it that like makes amends for like a couple things and then keeps most of the shitty stuff anyway. Like, if we were just... What was that?
I think furniture is being moved upstairs.
Don't let people hear me talk about Jesus out there. I feel like I'm totally fine with people having, like, what I would consider harmless cults. I think most people are in harmless cults of some kind.
Yeah.
But I think that Christianity has a real habit of getting very QAnon-y, and I don't think QAnon is the worst or like the biggest version of that. I think it's just weird enough that people are noticing it. It's like QAnon is the new snake handling church. Like, it's enough people are like, I don't know about this, but like it's not any crazier than the people who are saying that other shit. It's just a lot more current, and I don't know. Our blasphemy power hour, I think.
I made it through the majority of my margarita, so that explains my half of the blasphemy power hour.
I'll get another sip of this in for that.
I always forget that these are like, I don't know why, but I always think of cans as like a small amount of liquid, but it's not.
Yes.
It's like
12 I think that's ounces. A mistake a lot of people make.
Yeah, I always do that. I did that at a mod pizza one time with wine.
Nice. I miss having people around that are like, well, I miss being able to go to a mod pizza in that way, but I miss having people around who are sometimes like, hey, do you want to go to mod pizza? And then having the surprise of like, oh, they meant come here and get pizza and drink wine. Okay, I'm into that.
The wine was kind of not a planned thing. I was just like, oh yeah, I'll get like some wine. That'll be fun. But it's like 2.5 glasses of wine.
Did you ever do that at a like an employee meeting thing?
No.
Okay. Because that would be a good idea. That would actually
hilarious.
Really help out.
That, yeah, actually, in hindsight, that would have helped me with those probably a little bit, but
yeah.
No, I wasn't smart enough to try and attempt that.
Since we're far enough into this, I feel like I had some ragging on work stuff, and I know that they won't listen past 2 hours into a podcast, if at all. But like, you know how your old boss / my current boss / company owner, they have a habit of oversharing. I know a person who has a thing that they don't want shared, but isn't like a terrible thing. And basically they had to tell the boss because they had to leave to take care of it. They have now told the boss, not the employee, has now told everybody in the building, except for me because I knew. They have told a lot of people who were coming in, like old clients and stuff. And the other day, they just dropped it when somebody completely new walked in the building.
What the hell?
It's just like, how are you so oblivious to the fact that your information doesn't need to be everybody's information?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is unfortunate for that person.
This is the same person who, if you ever have something that isn't like something they absolutely don't care about that you bring up, they will cut you off every single time towards the end of whatever you're saying to tell you about the time that they also had that happen or did that thing, but it was way cooler. And they will tell you a 10-minute story about what happened to them because yours was getting boring. So, like, eventually we'll have what I will call a spoiler cast about that work stuff when we can get into the real weird shit. But for
spoiler
now,
cast. Spoiler cast.
while I still work there, we'll keep it fairly light.
Yeah.
This is a job I like, and it's still perplexing every day.
I mean, a job being something that you like is very different from dealing with the people that surround you while you do it.
Yeah, to be clear, I would like this job even more if I walked into it and all of the work I did came in those like hydraulic tubes from like
Mhm.
a drive up for a bank, and I was in a completely isolated room and never spoke to anybody. That would be perfect. I would love it.
I could
Uh,
actually totally see that for you, like you being the mystical other room man that people like know of but have never seen or heard.
Honestly, I'd probably, if you've seen Spirited Away, I'd probably be the weird spider guy in the
Mm,
basement. And
yeah.
it'd be appropriate to the kind of work I usually do. So,
I could see that. I like that.
um, we just got some new colors of paper in this weekend, which
Ooh.
I did give myself a weird let's worry about it all the time condition lifting, but I'm still excited to see how we use them.
What kind of colors?
Weird additions. We got a pastel pink, uh, like
Okay.
not like Blossom, but like
Mhm.
a much more like um
Like drunk tank pink?
closer, yeah. Um
I
and
just
then
learned about that recently and I think that's very interesting.
we also got we got a matcha green.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I literally didn't look in the box yet. I think it's different enough from like a moss or those other colors we have, but it these are the exciting things that happen in the world of paper and making paper goods.
I
Uh,
remember the whole time being there, I was like, I want more orange. There needs to be more variations of orange and red and pink.
yeah. Orange is
That
my favorite color, and our options for orange are so fucking lame.
they're horrendous and ugly.
Orange also, like, if you know color theory and you know how orange can be used, it has such a wide range. Like, we could be doing so much with it. Like, orange runs all the way from, like, a full brown almost to being,
Hmm.
like, almost like a light yellow, depending on how you tint it. And we could have all kinds of colors in there for interesting shit, and we just don't. We also
Yeah.
focus a lot on blue colors, and if you have oranges and browns to accent it, you can make amazing shit with it. And we just choose not to have that supply and instead get like more off greens. Like that seems to be off greens and
Yeah.
like dusty light colored browns as far as you can see.
Hmm. I always wanted more like neutrals.
Yeah.
And I think they would have sold the shit out of a bunch of neutrals like the last couple of years.
Hmm.
But I don't know. Who knows? People are always into weird shit, so.
Well, also neither of us in that particular business would have had our ideas listened to seriously at any point anyway. So there's just we would have to do our own stuff in order to get that to happen, and
Yeah.
it wouldn't happen there. Uh, but you know that.
Spoiler cast. Spoiler cast.
Yeah, I could talk about all the designs I've made that were literally looked at and like, oh, like um the kinds of things that come across like when you show a parent a thing that you made that they really could not give less of a shit about. A lot of that kind of response after having other people be like, "No, do it. It's so cool," and then just having them be like, "Oh, okay, yeah,
Yeah. I don't know. So much of the design that I did while there was just so painfully like commercial and boring
yeah."
that I was pretty over it, and I still do way too much boring commercial design. But
To
I
be
still think,
fair, most people like ordering boring commercial
right,
design, but
yeah,
it
it
doesn't
works.
mean it's good.
It's uh painstakingly marketable,
Yeah.
but
That's basically describing my purgatory.
yeah.
Ugh.
But I have really missed the production side of things, actually. I have really missed working, however little it was I did in that position. I have really missed like working with my hands on things. I don't
Yeah.
like sitting at the computer the entire day.
No, this is about the extent that I like sitting at a computer is doing stuff like this. I am not a let's get to computer business kind of person. I had to do a lot of that in college, and it was just never very interesting. Like it was interesting editing video, or it was interesting like
Hmm.
3D modeling or things like that. But the things that you have to do at a computer for like design work is just sort of uh, restricted so much when you're not working on designs that you will sell to people. You're working on designs that people are trying to sell you on making good.
Hmm.
It's way different on that end. Like make some money with dog faces on it. Cool.
Fun.
I forget that other people have bad ideas a lot of the time. So thank you for reminding me.
Oh, I kind of would love to have some money with a dog face on it right now, though. Oh,
Yeah.
that happened to me in Boise. Not a dog face, but somebody handed me money with a Jesus face on it.
I
I'm
was just
realizing
gonna ask if it was a Jesus
it
face.
was a
That is
Jesus
excellent.
face. Yeah, it was like a $1 million bill with a Jesus face. And I cannot think of a better convergence of I don't know, shitty Christianity and stupid capitalism. It was really stupid. I didn't read. I wish I kept it, actually. I got rid of it, but
Yeah, I'm a little upset you don't have that. I If I got rid of it, I would have sent it to one of those send me $1 as your love seed kind of things, where the churches send you back your dollar and then make you send $2 and so on.
I've never heard of that before.
It's one of the scams that churches do, where uh, in order to reap the rewards of life, you're supposed to send them money, and then they'll send money back to you, but you send more back. And it's just this weird, like, so you're getting more tithe money through the mail, but you're getting it by being incredibly dishonest and just like sending people $1 and having them send like hundreds of dollars eventually,
Hmm.
and then you're acting like they're buying a product, and that product is that your prayers are going to go to them. uh, like the idea of taking money from people who don't even visit your church is just like the crassest like commercial church thing ever.
Hmm.
That and John Hagee Ministries sending people a sword-shaped letter opener as the like sword of God, as like a love gift for donating stuff to them, and it like
Nice.
sheathes into a Bible.
Ugh.
Yeah.
Stupid.
Yep.
I think I just watched a podcast slash video. mm, Somebody's like deep dive on a like television ministry the other day, and I can't remember what it was, but it was following the story of this older woman who like was so deeply involved in this ministry and just like kept sending them money because she had cancer, and they kept saying stuff like oh, well, if you send us money, like God will listen to your prayers, and she like died of cancer, and they specifically also, as a part of their ministry, were like, don't go to doctors because they're like not on your side and they don't believe in Jesus or whatever. So yeah, she died, and I can't remember if this was a podcast or a video.
That stuff also sucks because of the people I've met in certain places that are religious, doctors and scientists have like some of the highest rates of it that I've met, because when you're that busy, that into something, believing in religion really takes up a lot of like your other mind space and just sort of like slots it away. Like there's a lot of people who I have met that are like more sciencey people who are just like, oh, of course I believe in religion. That's much easier than than dealing with all the other shit I'd have to do.
Yeah. That makes sense.
That's not what they say, of course, but that's what I'm reading into it, because that's the effect that it seems to have for them.
Mm-hmm.
On one hand, I'm glad that casual religious people, which is the only kind we should have, are willing to use something like that as like remember morals kind of thing, because that feels like at best what religion sort of is. But then you meet plenty of people who use it for the opposite. And then you meet people who use it for making $1 million bills with Jesus' face on it, and you realize, like, I like religious stuff like that. I want more of that.
Yeah.
Also, I just wish it didn't exist
during
for anybody.
COVID. Also, I'm also realizing because I was walking downtown showing someone around Boise to try and give them like a little tour, and I didn't think of it in the moment because my brain is more concerned with the social aspect of things than like COVID sometimes. So just like having a stupid fake 100 or like $1 million bill shoved into my hand during COVID from somebody that I don't know also feels kind of bad.
Yeah. That's why I walk around with alcohol now, because you never know. Sometimes you get to have a cool day where you have to hug a widow because that's what you do when bad shit happens, and then you want alcohol spray because you can stink like alcohol and maybe you'll be a little safer afterwards.
Yeah. Well, I'm really disappointed I don't still have that bill, though.
I am too. I can't believe you've done this to us.
I ruined the podcast.
Also, I just want to note that when we don't have good plans lined up, we just revert to talking about religious shit.
I know.
That is also kind of what happens just in person. So I guess that's just the natural fit. That weird religious shit has to go somewhere.
Yeah. I was going to say, it's almost as if we both have some like weirdly, deeply ingrained trauma.
Yeah. Almost like that.
Religion.
Yeah.
Yeah, something.
Weird. Who provided you with your religious material when you were younger?
My mother and my grandmother.
Okay. Is your father's side of the family less religious, or is it just not an issue?
They're not at all, really. Okay.
My family's weird because most of the people closest, basically, it's the closer to me in the family tree you are, the less religious you are. And then blooming out from that, like my dad might be more like aggressively like anti-religious than me because of his history, but pretty much everyone else, it's just sort of a solid, like, every step away from me in the family tree you get a little more And then once you get up into like northern Washington families and stuff, it starts to get a little like COVID denial-y and all that kind of shit. But I don't deal with them very often, so it's not that big a thing directly. I just wish that people would talk to each other more about why, instead of just having this weird, like, if you're into Jesus, well, why would you believe in anything except there's a plan for this? That stuff gets a little hard to deal with during a pandemic.
Yeah.
What's going on? Are you fully haunted over there?
I think it's people sounds.
Okay. Whoa.
I just wasn't sure. Might be haunted. I don't know.
Here's not haunted, because I can see the ghost if it is. And he's just kind of lumbering to the bathroom and back.
That seems like a friendly ghost, though, that just doesn't want to do dishes right now, but like maybe
so
later.
You gotta watch out for that ghost. You gotta hide the cookies. If they're within eye shot, they will be eaten.
Don't put them on the counter. Put them in the cupboard.
Yes, exactly. I have learned that lesson. Even to the point where when you put things in the cupboard, they're like, "Oh, good idea." Yeah, I know.
We love a self-aware ghost.
That self-aware ghost was out at like 2:30 in the morning last night, just like eating like a bowl of pickles, like some weird cookies or something. Like, I don't even know what all. It's literally, I thought that the ghost was eating a bowl of cereal. And I was like, "Oh, did you just have a bowl of cereal?" Just eating a bowl of pickles. It's fine.
Like with a spoon?
Yeah, it looked like cereal. I wasn't like looking close. I mean, I wasn't paying attention to the crunch, but if I were, I'm sure I would have been able to tell it was off.
Is your ghost okay?
I don't fucking no is the short answer, but like it's hard to say why.
Are great, but eating them in a bowl like cereal just seems little. Whew. All right.
Yeah. Well, I think that's as good a place as any to. We've gone through religion into the supernatural, so it's a natural stopping point. And I'm gonna have to the late breakfast of some home croquettes was good, but I'm gonna need to get on a little ordering if I'm gonna make the evening workout.
That's important. All right, I have to finish this.
Mm-hmm.
And play some video games badly.
Some team games.
I have to make at least 4 other people suffer every night, or else I can't go to sleep.
Yeah, me too, but it's other weirder stuff. I've been playing like I have a Switch as of a few months ago, so I have some Switch shit. Mm-hmm. So I worked on the previous Smash Brothers game, and I've never been like amazing at it, but I've like been passable. And I hate, unless it's a fighting game, which I don't consider Smash Brothers. I've worked on it, so that's official. It's not a fighting game. Fuck off. The online of Smash Brothers is finally good enough, and the most current one, to where like it's worth playing. It's still Nintendo, so it's not amazing, but it's worth trying out. And some of the people and their tactics I've been seeing online at the rare occasion when I'm playing it that way are very funny. Very similar to some of the creeps you'll find on like some other online games, but just like That community's weird.
The few things that I have heard about that community are just a little
You mean
strange.
how one of the champion teams got disqualified for throwing shit in the hallways of the hotel they were staying in a couple years ago? Like
Actually, I
that?
had not heard that. No,
Mm.
but that's
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
There was a big description of it when it happened. Even I think they like pooped into paper towels and like flung it at people or something.
Oh my god!
I don't. Another team, and they keep trying to make these things turn into like I don't know why people are so against Smash Brothers players. Like they're normal people. It's like no, they're not.
We just like to hurl our shit at people sometimes. That's all.
Don't we all?
Don't we? You all, everyone wants to do that deep down.
Everyone.
Everyone.
Good. Okay. Well, I guess religion was right. Well, but jabbers, because I gotta get out of this conversation.
Good idea. Beyond thoughts.
Mm-hmm.